It's you and only you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to the Racing Line and welcome to the RLTC Championship powered by GT Omega. My name is Chaz Draycott and I'm doing a bit of a takeover of Jack's wonderful channel this evening. It's great to have you all here with us and it's great to be here at Mount Panorama. Of course, known to you and me as Bathurst. It's a hell of a place to be. And this is basically just a celebration of the championship. The drivers and the organisers all out enjoying themselves, making the most of it after what has been a fantastic season indeed. Thanks, of course, to sponsors GT Omega as well. Don't forget to use the discount code TRL. They have a wonderful amount of products and a number of things back in stock again, actually, after, well, what seems like with the world recently, everything has been out of stock everywhere, but GT Omega coming through and delivering the goods. Hopefully they'll be get your words out, Chaz. Hopefully they'll be delivering them to you at some point in your near future if you go on there and get something ordered. Either way, it's fantastic to have you all here with us this evening. Certainly been enjoying ourselves in the build-up towards this. There's been a lot of banter and a lot of enjoyment going on in Discord. I've been joining in and chatting with the guys as well. But what we're going to do is just take a quick look at the championship standings, how things all unravelled. But what a season it was. You know, it was absolutely unbelievable. We had the three different cars, the Honda, the Hyundai Elantra, which came at the same time as that car too, iRacing, and then of course the good old faithful Audi. There were 6 different pole sitters throughout the championship, 10 different fastest laps, or 10 different drivers getting fastest laps at least, and 20 out of the 30 cars on the podium, sorry, in the field, I'm not explaining this very well, am I? 20 out of the 30 cars in the field were podium sitters with 11 different winners. There were 12 different tracks, 3 races at each, combining to be 36 races for the entire season. And in the end, the championship was decided by just 2 points. Here is a quick look at, well, some very, very empty championship standings, to be honest with you. That's how it all worked out in the end. Morgan Burkhardt winning the championship at Phillip Island by just 2 points ahead of Connor Mills for Pulsus eSports. Pulsus eSports won the championship in the teams standings. It was absolutely awesome to see them complete that. They were the only team to break 3,000 points, and they achieved a 1-2-3, which they did in Imola in round 6 of the championship. They had 1 pole position from John Bailiff, and he was only 6,000ths of a second clear of anybody behind him. Team Fear Factor managed to hold on to P2 in the end of the championship, with lead driver Damien Harris retiring mid-season. He was in the championship lead when he did that. And we also had Jan Weiswanger stepping in to replace him for the second half of the season. All Sports Racing finished P3 despite having the most wins. Podiums and fastest laps with 15 wins, 35 podiums and 12 fastest laps. 5 poles to go with it as well. Goldwing in no man's land for P4. As Jack has said, they're his own words. The team that accrued the most penalty points with all 3 drivers serving a quali ban at some point, unfortunately. But still, you've got to be entertaining out there, haven't you, I guess? B Team Lurchus Academy beat Meatball Motorsport by 49 points for P5. Second of the 4 teams with no wins. They were with the highest finish of second, 2 podiums and 1 fastest lap. Into the drivers' standings though, just looking through everything. We'll come to qualifying in just a moment when that gets all started. In the driver standings, there were reserve drivers, Ribeiro and Weiswanger, finishing 32nd and 31st after they only completed the second half of the season. Broberg dropped out of this championship halfway through in 30th. Jesus finally passed up to 29th position later on in the championship, basically just outdoing Broberg in the latter stages. And then apparently next up was the Dan v Dan battle, Hyundai versus Hyundai, where Thornton beat Blake by just 1 point to claim P27 in the standings. Blake finished 28th, and that was a battle that went on all season. Stephen Fry, it was in P26 ahead of Corrida in 25th, famous for losing out on a win on the last lap of Zandvoort in race 3. Absolutely gutting. Another 2 that found themselves on track more than they probably wanted to, or found themselves together at least, was Donny Alpha Henriksen and Mr. Marais as well, which joined him in P23. They were separated by 1 point. Jerry Agard was P22. He got his first Racing Line Series podium after an eye-watering year of trying an emotional memory for sure. P21, late podium finisher Taki and Stephen Burns. P20, separated by 1 point again. Corpus breaking P19. He had 497 points. And that's one of the main things about this championship, with how close everything was throughout the season. You have to consider that these drivers were only 1, maybe 2, or even 3 points apart. And they were getting hundreds of points throughout the whole campaign. It's very, very impressive. Huffman had a lot of pace throughout the early stages, but he missed a couple of rounds. He was at P18 in the championship standings. There was a newcomer, Eric Mantintveld, who was P17, fourth in the Hyundais. P15 and P16 are on even points. That's Ike Lecu and Joe Gibson. They were both Audi drivers for their respective teams, Lurches Academy and ORD. Damien Harris, after leading in the championship after round 6 and round 4, he actually retired from the season halfway through. That meant the eventual race winner, Andrzej Mazurek, beat him by 1 point to finish in 13th. You can see that there on your screens, the Czech driver for Team ORD. Andy Fox was next up in 12th position. Andy, a good friend of mine, he famously had no podiums. His name in the Discord is actually Andy Podiumless Fox. He's a very, very lovely guy, though, is Andy. So hopefully he gets something good out of this evening, just for a bit of bragging rights. But he was a popular one-time race winner from the Jet Cup here on the racing line in Season 2, and he's still looking for that top 3 in TCRs, though. And Australian and new father Kyle Ridley had a late surge in pace to bump him up to P11. A win at Twin Ring Motegi saw him jump teammate Andy and pull away from ORD in the Teams Championship. Going into the top 10 then, you can see there, Daniel Downing and Sam Van Olst are 10th and then 9th. Quite the separation between them, though. Dan was involved in many accidents that weren't always his fault, and Sam was, well, the opposite, apparently. But still, Van Olst improved massively over the last 5 rounds in terms of pace and driving standards, though, as is noted here. Cranstone finished in P8 after a season in turmoil, where he was basically a candidate for the championship based on pace, but fell into a bit of a wingman role after questionable losses of position and heated battles throughout the entire championship. One of those drivers that just seems to magnetise towards drama. You do get them in championships, don't you? John Bailiff was 7th. You can see him there on 836 points, only 4 points ahead of Jake Cranstone. He had his first 2 genuine wins, as they are described here. He missed only 2 rounds, but still managed to claim 6 podiums and the only Pulsus eSports pole position of the entire championship. Marcel Fritsch was in what is described as an amazing P6 in a Hyundai. 4 podiums and a win, often found himself in the battle with Sam Van Olst, but after a successful last 2 rounds, he jumped 3 spots ahead of him. Kieran Dempsey, a driver I've commentated on before, actually, in one of the championships that I ran in the Kia Optima. Kieran's a fantastic, fantastic young man. Really, really fast, lovely guy. And he was a new winner in this championship. He was P5 overall. He claimed his first win at Laguna Seca, and then he never looked back, and he took another one in Brazil. Next up, Mats Borg Anderson, another driver that jumped into one of my championships as well. He's a real star, really entertaining to watch, always very fast in qualifying. He was P4 and perhaps the most criminal stat. No wins, but the most poles, and there you go. It was kind of the same thing at my end as well. It doesn't mean he wasn't close, though. Looking back through the pictures provided by VCO, he was often in the same shot as the winner, right behind, with 8 podiums and 8 fastest laps. And, well, Stephen King, a shocking P3 in a Hyundai with 2 wins, his second of which was overshadowed by the insane finale by the top 2 at Phillip Island. And speaking of those top 2, well, there were 14 points between them going into the final round of the championship. 7 wins each when they left, and it ended with just 2 points between the pair of them. And that is just the difference of being in the top 10 on one occasion. 8 wins each. And after 36 races, 38,966 kilometres, over 27,500 miles of racing, 9,654 laps, it was just 2 points between them. I want to give a very, very big shout out to Jack Johns for providing me with all of the info to be able to come into this armed with information to give you guys tonight, just to round everything up. I know Jack would do a better job of it than I. But still, the overall champion, Morgan Burkhardt, for All Sports Racing, the American, doing an amazing job ahead of Connor Mills. Like we say, just 2 points. Absolutely amazing to see just how close it was. But Connor Mills for Pulsus and Morgan for All Sports had an amazing championship fight. One that should be seen by more in true F1 2021 fashion. Both drivers fully deserving the championship, but only one walking away with the title as RLTC champion. It was pretty amazing, though, right near the end of the championship. All it meant was that Morgan needed, I think it was 5th place coming into the final round. Mills led the race very comfortably and was unchallenged. You know, he was able to just do everything he needed to do on that final evening, try and run away with the championship victory. But in the end, it would come down to Burkhard taking the championship. So we look at tonight then, and tonight, well, to be honest with you, it's just a bit of fun this evening for all of these drivers. They're just celebrating the championship, as we mentioned, and they're going to be trying to enjoy themselves as best they can throughout the evening. Let's have a quick look at how they're getting on at the moment. There's a bunch of them all in the pit lane, and yes, that is a BMW M4. There's a couple of them out there tonight. Joshua Germany racing for Pulsus eSports with his teammate, the man himself, Jack Johns. Josh is going to be working very, very hard, it has to be said, to try and overcome the challenges that this BMW M4 will have against it tonight, because, to be honest with you, they've nerfed the hell out of it to get it to behave itself and, of course, to be within touching distance of all of the other cars. But Josh, currently 6th fastest at the moment. Connor Mills out there on track at the moment for Pulsus eSports as well in the Audi. He's nearly done 15 laps in this practice session. There will be 17 laps in the race, as here we go. He's getting practice in for the jump later on. Oh, that's a nasty landing. Oh, that's a very nasty landing. And, yep, into the tyre wall as well. Rips both wheels off the front of it. Somebody just about missing him there for a second. Only just cleared him for a moment there, though, didn't he? Only just cleared him. This is Alejandro Carrida in the Lurchus Gaming Team car. Lovely livery on that Honda Civic, as he makes his way down into, well, he's come out of the chase into the chicane. You can see the Civic pitches in very quickly, doesn't it? And then doesn't want to behave itself on the exit. It sort of goes into this almost 4-wheel drift, as right behind him, about to complete a lap there, is Stephen Burns in the Masters of Traction car, doing what he can do at the moment. Only about a minute and a bit left of this session, and then we will move on to qualifying and have a look at what these drivers can manage over the entire session. But as we've said, though, we have the BMWs. There is Jack Johns, pulled over at the side of the road, probably watching the stream going, oh God, what's Chaz doing? He has messaged me, actually. And, okay, there is a message from Jack. He has asked me to update somebody's information. So if you do bear with me 1 second, guys, we will get that done. Martin Wallace is the driver we are updating as of now. Just had a bit of a blink in and out as well with the internet, which is always what you want, isn't it? As Jack has now had a problem coming into the cutting. Far up the road, get it? Here is Austin Farr, driver from California, as listed there. You will see the overlay flick on and off a little bit here as we fix this, just to make sure that everything is all set up and ready to go. But currently it's Eric Mantintveld that is fastest for Lurchus Academy in the Hyundai Elantra. Gorgeous car is the Elantra. Sounds fantastic as well. Loves a pop and a bang. Has a very, very whistly turbo on it as well. I've been lucky enough to see a number of these in my real-world commentary ventures so far this season and towards the end of last year as well. There was one of them being tested at Barcelona in the Spanish TCR Championship. It was the first time I'd seen one, and I actually didn't know what it was for quite a while. Very, very odd-looking car. Here's a good mate of mine for a nice photo op. Andy Fox, Win It or Bin It Racing. It looks like he's just taken to the latter of that team name to try and get the Hyundai Veloster around to the end of the lap. But it suddenly falls quiet for just a moment here at Bathurst, and as you see, the time progresses very, very quickly, and the drivers will now make their way out into qualifying and crack on with the task at hand. We look here at Andrzej Mazurek, the Czech driver in the Honda Civic, and well, if we go on board, you'll see the absolute queue of cars making their way out in front of him. Barry TLC Racing in the chat, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Let's see how these BMWs get on, shall we? Here's Joshua Germany. He's clearly got the white numbers selected on his BMW though, so nothing showing up on the number board for that car. But he is in car 12. Jack Johns in car 14. And the Pulsars guys all working together, I'm sure, over the course of this session. Wonderful conditions here at Bathurst though, as you see. It's very contrasty here this evening, nice and golden. But it won't be long before this 15-minute session is up. They will only get a handful of laps each in this. They won't get long at all to complete everything. But this is the boss man who's put all of the really, really hard work in. You know, him and his good mate Stephen King of Pulsars eSports as well. The two of them fantastic. They both turned up in my European Touring Car Championship that I was running, and it's been great to work with them as well since then. They were both absolute stars of the series, but yeah, Jack and I worked together on a number of things, and it's great to see. Now there, oh, well, that's not great to see. That is Jan Weiswanger, absolutely, well, making it a bit of a Weiss banger into the wall with the Audi. There's another car off there. That was the 26 machine that was around at the bottom of the hill, I think. Either that or it was the 28. Good mate of mine, Dan Blake, out there on the road this evening as well. It's good to see Dan out there. There is the 26 in front of him, actually. It's Ike Lecure. But Dan was the clerk of the course, or training clerk of the course, at the weekend at Snetterton when I was commentating on the BARC action, which included the Praga Cup, of which a certain Jimmy Broadbent was racing in, and he managed to win both races on the road with his teammate Gordy Much. But they were thrown out of the first result due to an overboost problem. Here is Martin Wallace, we mentioned a moment ago, Zero Forks Given Racing. A very raspy Honda Civic TCR. If you've been lucky enough to see TCR cars in the flesh, especially these more modern versions of them rather than the first iterations, you'll know that the Civic makes a hell of a racket compared to all of the other different cars that you will see out there on track. This is Jeremy Agard in the Masters of Traction Honda Civic. Beautiful yellow and black machine, screaming and rasping its way up the hill. Please do say hello though if you're in the chat. It's good to see you all with us again. Good to have you all with us. And Barry saying that Praga Cup has thrown up some great races this season, some crazy moments too. And yeah, you're right, mate. Absolutely right. You know, I was saying on the comms on the weekend that it's the fact that it's not a big grid. You know, there's only 9 of them, or even 8 of them I think we had on the weekend, but it's still great racing because the spread that they've got between the 2 drivers in each car means that the pace is always different depending on who's in it. So the race goes through multiple different phases. Even though it's an hour long with only 8 cars, you'd think it would be pretty boring, but cars themselves are very exciting. We ride on board with Dan Thornton right now then in the Team ORD car. And you can see just how narrow it is around here. It feels even more narrow in a TCR car. We're on board with the beautiful Hyundai Elantra. One of the strangest looking TCR steering wheels you'll see though. That's big understeer by Dan. You can see he's not the first car to go off there, but he recovers well. But that is going to have ruined his lap. He's got his teammate there actually, Andrzej Majarek, right in front of him. Oh, and he's hit the wall as well. He makes contact with the inside of the barrier. That's going to throw his lap completely out of kilter. Now, who's closest to finishing a lap? I think Jack Johns is one of the furthest around. His teammate Joshua Germany, I think, is going to be the first one to cross the line. Now, interesting point to note here is that the M4 has been nerfed. It's got max ballast. It's got, I think, 5% less engine power than normal, Jack was telling me. And it's got a full fuel tank as well. So it's a very heavy wagon. And in a straight line, it has been an absolute pig. So we'll see what the times are like. Jack Johns goes fastest with a 2:17.471. Joshua Germany, obviously, invalidating his lap. Stephen King goes second fastest. Wallace goes up to 4th with a 1.4 second slower time than Jack. Carida goes into 5th. Weiswanger goes 8th fastest. And then you've got Fritsch in 9th place. Jack Johns still fastest at the moment, though. Mantintveld 3rd after being fastest in practice earlier on. As whoa, big moment for Dan Blake as he comes down towards Forest Elbow. Big moment. Managed to catch it all, though. He didn't go in a wall or anything. And to be honest, if you're going to have a moment and go down there and avoid getting into the barrier, then that is a good moment. And again, he's having a bit of a scary one through the chase. Just looking at the sector times, just to see if there's anybody going even quicker. Connor Mills has done a purple sector 2. There's 6 sectors on this lap. As whoa, that's a big off there for the number 14 of Jack Johns. Overdoes it through the final corner, and he's kicking the car all over the road, and into the barrier he goes. As Connor Mills goes fastest by over 0.3 of a second, Stephen King remains 3rd. Mats Borg Anderson's gone 4th. Bailiff 5th. Agard's just gone up to 7th. And Jack gets going again. And as you see there, the car is undamaged. Very undamaged. So one of the main things to note tonight is the fact that damage is turned off. So the drivers can enjoy themselves without getting absolutely railed early on and receiving race finishing damage. There's the beautiful Goldwing Motorsport Hyundai Elantra. They've got a number of different cars in this race, actually, by the look of it. They've got an Audi, they've got a Honda. The Audi's actually right behind him there. That's Sam Van Olst in the Goldwing Motorsport machine. The other car is the Hyundai. Now I think I've actually mistaken one of the Hondas for one of their cars as well, actually. So apologies if I did. I thought they had another one. It's a Pulsys 123 at the top at the moment. I'm not 100% sure on the BOP for the M4, but it's a lot. Try and find out a little bit later if we can. We're hoping to have a quick chat with Mr. Johns in a little bit. See whether we can have a chat and see what he's made of the season, see what he's made of all of it, to be honest with you, and how happy he is with what seems like a very successful championship. I know how stressful these things can be to run sometimes. They can be an absolute nightmare. And I can tell you that TCR drivers are some of the most bonkers on iRacing. But they're so entertaining. The racing is always good in TCR cars. This is Stephen Fry. No time on the board yet for the number 15 Elantra, but he is pushing hard, isn't he? Look at that. Through the exit of McPhillamy Park, down towards Skyline. Over to the right, over to the left. Nice little kiss of the curb there. Runs a little bit deep before he goes down to the dipper. But nice work to get the car smoothly down the hill. Back end tries to step out a little bit as he gets to Forest Elbow. Look at the way it just four-wheel drifts its way in, floating over the crest there onto the apex. Mats Borg Anderson is doing very hard work here down the hill, and Team Fear Factor. Mats is so quick. He's fantastic to watch. Always going for a pole position is Mats, the Norwegian driver. It's incredible how the Civic, on the inside, it sounds like a wonderful, smooth, gentle car, but on the outside, it's a very raspy wagon. We'll turn the volume up a little bit for you for a flyby. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Absolutely fantastic. iRacing have done a really good job with the TCR sounds, to be fair. There's a lot of pops and bangs as well that you'll hear from the Hyundai. Now, this is where they all are on track at the moment. So you can see that currently Mats Andersson is very much on his own. He's the number 10 in the top right of the map, coming through the final corner, and he's gone too wide out of the final corner. He did a purple sector 4 as well. Oh man, that has ruined what could have been a potential stab at pole at least. Here's another one of the Lurchers cars. This is the Lurchers Academy machine with the Portuguese David Corpus driving, number 21. Corpus, the driver that finished 19th in the championship, 497 points to his name across the season. Next driver to finish ahead of him was Jameson Huffman, but I don't believe we have him with us tonight. Oh, we do actually, in the all-sports racing car. Another Hyundai Elantra. He's just not put a time on the board yet. Now, just in front of him is the number 20 machine of Kyle Ridley in Win It or Bin It Racing, with the Australian flag all over the car, or at least down the rear corners. Flying down the Conrod Straight. And back into the chase once more. You can see again the front end of that Civic really bites into the corner, and then it sort of floats towards the apex before it really pinches in. Let's see whether either of these guys get an improvement on the board. Andy Fox goes 24, 3.5 seconds off. As wide again goes Jameson Huffman. Be surprised if that lap counts, you know. And Kyle Ridley does improve on his lap time, but doesn't move up a position. We'll look at Andy Fox in the Hyundai. He's in the Veloster. I think he's the only Veloster out there on track, you know, in the Win It or Bin It racing car. Obviously, he has the Sim 3D Sport livery on the car as well. Gorgeous looking machine. I think it was designed by Andy himself as well. It's a top looking car. It's a good sounding car as well. It's great to have two cars from one manufacturer. Hyundai actually run 3 TCR cars currently in all of their TCR programs. They have the i30N, which quite frankly is my favourite. They have the longer saloon style Elantra, and then of course they have the sort of coupe, very strange Veloster, which has 2 doors on one side and 1 door on the other. Tyler Maxson at iRacing being one of the main people to sort of help bring that to the sim, as he races it in real life in IMSA. And he was saying that having the 1 door on the one side is very, very useful for driver changes, because it's one big door, so you've got a lot more space to climb out of, rather than it be a 5-door car with much smaller doors. But still, it's fantastic for Hyundai to offer 3 very different cars to all of their racing customers. You know, the whole N Performance program for Hyundai has been a massive success. As Bailiff goes 3rd fastest for Pulsus eSports. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4 for Pulsus at the moment. Amazing stuff. We'll show you the teams on the left-hand side. You can see it's Pulsus 1, 2, 3 and 4. Lurchus Academy in 5th. And then Fear Factor in 6th position. Very, very good stuff for John Bailiff, but it's Bossman. Whoa, Jack Johns still fastest at the moment, having a right old ride in the M4. And as you see, boom, fixes itself. It's interesting how the damage does fix itself on certain cars. For some of them, it sort of slowly morphs back into shape. For others, it just sort of pops back into shape very, very suddenly. I really like these Goldwing cars. As, well, Daniel Downing clearly doesn't like me looking at him. Pulls over straight away, basically, as he gets there. Bit of a train going on here. Austin Farr with the 21 machine right in front of him there. at the car of David Corpus that we were looking at a little bit earlier. Then we've got Andrzej Mazurek in the Timo RD machine just behind. Love watching how close they all get to the walls here as they go down the hill. It's very, very close, isn't it? Flying down the hill they go, and there's a multitude of them doing the jump. You could hear the tyre marks. Let's see how this looks on. Whoa! Yeah, Austin Farr maybe going a little bit too far with that one there. As qualifying now is apparently over 21 minutes long and is counting up very, very quickly as the session has come to a close. These will be the last laps on the board as Andrzej Mazurek kicks the back end of the car out. Does he improve on that lap? He does. He moves up to 7th position. But it looks like it's going to be a pulseless 1, 2, 3, 4. Johns, Mills, Bailiff, King, and Eric Mantenveld manages to just cling on to a spot inside the top 5. We've got Dan Thornton actually just about to complete a lap. He makes his way into the final corner once more to round out the session. Stays on the black stuff, straightens it up towards the line. 22nd place. Still improves on his lap time, but not on position, unfortunately. Jameson Huffman did another lap there and finished it, but did not improve. So does not get a clean lap on the board for the whole session, unfortunately. That now means that we are done for qualifying, everybody. So based on that, who is your money on? Because the BMW isn't looking too OP. Jack Johns certainly knows his way around it, so he's on pole position. But the next BMW down is Joshua Germany in 11th place, Kieran Dempsey in 12th for Meatball Motorsport. Hopefully the team name not synonymous with his performance this evening. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I'm actually delighted to have been joined by the boss man himself in the box. Jack, that certainly went to plan, mate, but the race might not. You never know around here, do you?
This track's crazy. It really is. It's fun. It's nice to see everyone on track instead of be up where you are for the first time, I think. Well, we normally do a celebration race. Last 2 times it's been rallycross, so it invites death. I mean, this one is a happy medium, shall we say, in between. But there's walls everywhere. Time's looking close. Not sure what's going to happen in the race, to be honest.
Well, the M4 as well, obviously a bit of an unknown here when it comes to an overall race run. Have you had any sort of testing of it before now?
We haven't done any race runs. The main focus is we did two, maybe 3 tests on trying to bring it sort of within the TCR range. And I can't say whether it's works on all circuits, but on this circuit, it's definitely about right. I wouldn't have got that time if it wasn't for Slipstream. Let's put it that way. You'll see. They're going to be fast off the line, so watch for Josh. I don't know where he's starting, but he'll probably come through initially, and then on the straights, we're going to get dogged, I think, for the first few laps. It's definitely interesting, and it'll be good to see.
Well, I look forward to watching it, mate, and thank you, of course, for having me in on this one, and thank you for all of your wonderful notes beforehand. I almost drowned in them earlier, but in the best way.
That's a lot of notes.
It's always good to have more information than none, so I am very, very grateful for it. Mats Borg Anderson is claiming pulseless bias in the chat. Either that or
he would. He loves it. Loves a bit of pulseless bias.
Well,
who's your money on, Chaz? That's the real question.
Oh, I don't know, because I can't say you.
You can't say me. Especially, I've spun twice in qualifying, so you can't say me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, Mantenveld in 5th place looked good. He was best of the rest that wasn't pulseless. I mean, Mats Borg Anderson, no wins during the championship. Maybe he's you on tonight.
I'll take that.
Yeah? Well, we
Yeah.
both know he's quick from the ETCC, so we have experience of Matt's even more, and obviously him racing in this championship as well. That's the closest experience we have here in the actual TCR cars themselves, rather than some dodgy Kia that's meant to be a GT car. But I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, Bathurst is a bit of a nightmare in most cars, isn't it? But it's a fantastic place to be.
It's really fun. I think the Hondas are going to have to watch their back coming down the mountain. They looked fairly squirrely when I was following one or two of them. The Audis look pretty stable, and to be fair, I hadn't seen much of the Hyundais in the 2 tests, so it was good to see Eric fastest in practice. He said he got slipstream, but I mean that's part of the game around here, isn't it? So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that Hyundai up there. I think Stephen King's up there as well in Elantra. That's his baby. Both of them only about 4 temps back. So if they stay in the suck, nothing's out of the question.
I thought you were going to make a rhyme out of that, then I was ready to mute it. If you stay in the suck, get ready to be in luck. Right then.
Yes.
I like that one. Anyway, I'm going to leave you to it, Jack, so you can go out there and get some much needed practice. But I will. I'm joking. But enjoy it, mate. And again, it's a pleasure to be here doing this, and I appreciate you giving me free reign
Thanks
of
for
your
being
channel.
here, Chaz. Hello, chat. Welcome, Chaz. I'm sure you've been all kind. I'm going to jump back in with them. Good
Lovely.
to see you. You enjoy it. Hopefully I don't die.
You too, mate. Have a good one.
See you later.
Lovely stuff. There you go then. Boss man Jack Johns of the racing line, the absolute star that he is. He's such a lovely bloke. We always have a good laugh. And now the cars are out in the warm-up session just to try and get their heads around the conditions. And we all know how quickly conditions can change here on iRacing. It can go from one temperature to the next incredibly fast during a practice session or even just during a qualifying session. Here's Mo Taki, the Malaysian driver for Lurchus Gaming team in the factory-coloured Hyundai i30. Sorry, not the i30, the Elantra. Matt Sporg Anderson, I wish my money was on you. Well, I just said it was. Kieran Dempsey's going to be one to watch as well, actually, in the BMW. It's good to have Kieran with us with this gorgeous BASF throwback livery on the car. Looks absolutely stunning. Really, really big fan of that. Hopefully that car goes well for him. The M4 TCR, as it's now known. Good to see Donny Henriks. Well, if he was in a straight line, it would be good to see Donny Henriksen. As there you go, car repairs itself. He's been a fan of a series that I ran a while ago. He was very, very quick in that. Actually took a couple of wins there, but the Masters of Traction was the master of going backwards there. Team Fear Factor's Jan Weiswanger, the German driver in the German car, with the GT branding all over it. GT, a brand that makes truck tyres for the British Truck Racing Championship here in the UK. A very, very popular brand indeed, though. They actually have a show truck in that sort of grey, black and yellow camouflage livery, and it looks absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure that it is one of the new DAFs that they have in that livery, one of the new XFs or CFs. It's a very, very beefy truck. Here's a beefy car. Kyle Ridley on home turf, of course, here in Australia. For Win It or Bin It Racing, he's hoping to win it and not bin it for the team. Dan Thornton goes 4th fastest in warm-up for Team ORD. This session, again, is going to go by very, very quickly for these drivers. They're not going to get many laps, if any, in at this point. As Josh Germany just clips the right wall and then the left wall and then nearly the right wall again as he goes through Forest Elbow. Let's watch the M4 down the straight. See it now building up through the speed, or just about 220 Ks. Nearly getting to 230, but of course it's down on power compared to the usual car. So we have a 5th TCR car effectively in the field. So Win It or Bin It Racing 1-2 in warm-up at the moment. The fantastic Veloster of Andy Fox. He's right up there. Let's see how she sounds on board. Let's give you a bit of crank it up, NASCAR style. Listen to that. Look at the brakes glowing as well on the way into the chase. Lovely sounding Veloster TCR. Great stuff. This is actually going to sound quite good if we stick here with the pit lane camera. Just listen for it on the exit. Fantastic. Different noises for each car as well there. Of course, you had the Hyundai Elantra there just crossing the line. Donny Henriksen. And then just in front of him his teammate Audi. Two very different sounding machines. There's the big fat rear exhaust on the Audi. They have massive baffles on the TCR cars. They're quite interesting shapes, the rear exhausts. Lovely shot of them side by side under the famous Pedders Bridge as they go up towards Quarry. And Donny Henriksen just slots in front of his teammate there. Stephen Burns, that is, in the 82 car. Thornton goes 5th in this warm-up session where we only have 2 minutes left to go now. The lap time's about 2 minutes 19, so it does show that they are quite quick around here, but I've seen footage recently of, I think it was Rickard Rydell in his 1998 Volvo S40 Super Tourer going below a 210, I think it was. Pretty sure it was around 210 or 208 or something ridiculous back then. Actually, no, it might have been about 214, sorry. I don't think it was quite as fast as I first mentioned there, but still rapid. Quicker than TCR cars anyway. But TCR is a more affordable and more accessible package of touring car racing. You know, they are manufactured cars, production cars made by these companies. You know, they're not one-off cars developed by teams like you see with the NGTC cars in the British Touring Car Championship. They are much more expensive, those machines. But TCR cars, like I say, a lot more accessible. Obviously here in the sim racing world as well, you can pick one up for about £15 on iRacing. But in the real world, TCR is becoming bigger and bigger. It's a bit of a shame about TCR Spain. I was out in Madrid recently commentating on Clio Cup, and the TCR Spain grid was only 5 cars. 3 of the Hyundai Elantras. That's not an Elantra, that is. 3 of the Hyundai Elantras, and then 3 of the Cupra Leons. Not the Seat Leon Cupra, the Cupra Leon TCR. And they tried to sort of bolster the numbers with a production car grid, but there was only 5 of those, unfortunately. A couple of Honda Civics, an i30, Peugeot 308, and I think an i30 Fastback, the longer one. TCR Italy, on the other hand, 30 cars there were at Imola just 2 weeks ago when I was there. Now that was a hell of a grid, and that was a hell of a day out. I say a day out, it was a weekend of work, but it's not work, is it? Mode Taki is in 9th at the moment in this session, just trying to get his eye in a little bit more with the Elantra. He wasn't in the first session all the way through, as far as I know. He goes 6th, Weiswanger goes 5th, and warm-up comes to a close here at Bathurst, and we're about to get this race underway. Oh, okay. Someone goes absolutely clouting into the first corner barrier. 2 cars at least. But here we go then, everybody. We're going to get you a grid. Jack Johns, pole position for Pulsus eSports, alongside his teammate and championship runner-up, Connor Mills. John Bailiff and Stephen King line up alongside them, or at least just behind them, on row 2. Eric Mantinfeld makes it a Lurchus Academy car in the top 5, ahead of Mats Borg Anderson in P6. Then it's Andrzej Mazurek alongside Stephen Burns. Kyle Ridley and Daniel Downey make up the next row of the grid. Then it's Joshua Germany. Alongside him is Kieran Dempsey. Watch out for those BMWs. Austin Farr and Jeremy Agard, the Swiss driver, in 14th. Then it's Martin Wallace, David Corpus alongside him on row 8. Stephen Fry and Alejandro Corrida on row 9. Marcel Fritsch and Andy Fox round out your top 20. Dan Blake and Dan Thornton, it's an all Dan, row 11. Eike Lecure is 23rd, ahead of Jan Weiswanger in 24th. And then the last 4 cars, Sam van Olst, Mode Taki, Jamison Huffman and Donny Henriksen. So if said my money is on Mats Borg Anderson, we'll have to see how well he can do me proud in this one. The lights have come on, and the celebration race in the RLTC gets underway at Bathurst. It is a solid start from the BMWs, but not as much as Jack pointed out, actually. Bit of 3 wide going on in the middle here. Burns is across the infield as the 27 gets held up. That's Manintveld, I should say. Bit of argy-bargy between a couple of them there as they come out of the first few corners. They're 3 wide just in front. Bit of contact, and off the road has gone Stephen Burns, as it's getting even more feisty as they get to the top of the hill. The front of this is car 20, Kyle Ridley. He's got a very scary view behind him. All of these guys trying to go 2 by 2 as they come into the quarry corner at the right-hander. Not much room there left by Stephen Burns down his inside. At the front, it's a big old scrap between the Pulsars cars. Jack Johns has gone into the wall on the outside of the cutting, and Connor Mills goes to the front. Or does he? Back down the inside. The traction of the M4 helps Jack get in front, but now as they go over the crest of the hill, this is going to get spicy over here. John Bailiff in the Civic right behind them trying to watch this as well. Stephen King has got a front row seat for it. He's still in 4th position. All of his teammates fighting away. Lovely, lovely viewing though in the first couple of corners. We've got Jameson Huffman dropping a couple of positions further down, but how those guys all made it through the opening set of corners without massive accidents, I do not know. Car off the road there, which is the Honda Civic. That was the number 69 of Austin Farr. Eric Manintveld has lost 9 places from where he started. He's had an absolute nightmare of an opening half lap here. And now he's got the BMW of Kieran Dempsey in front. And Jan Weisvanger is in the wall. Jan has put the car into the barriers. We saw him have an issue down there earlier on, didn't we? During qualifying. And here comes Mats Borg Anderson. He's overtaken John Bailiff. Now he's going to try and overtake Stephen King. As we go flying down the straight, he's in the slipstream of the Hyundai Elantra. Jack Johns and Connor Mills have checked out at the very front. Side by side they go, and Anderson goes in front, but is Stephen King able to go later on the brakes? No, he does not. Whoa, big moment for Mats Borg Anderson. Jack was saying before that the back end steps out on these Civics, tries to recover it nice and tidy, and both of the Pulsars cars go back through. We've got more cars off the road here as well. David Corpus had a bit of a moment. Kieran Dempsey has benefited from in front, but whoa, Daniel Downing. He's going down the order. Big moment by Daniel Downing there. The car completely sideways as we found him. Entered the pit lane. He went that far off the track. I think he and Jeremy Agard had a bit of a problem. That was Mats Borg Anderson ahead. So he's gone off the road. Oh, he's going to clip the grass. Comes back on. Oh, and he's hit the end of the wall. Jeremy Agard, I think, had a separate moment completely. We go back live, and Connor Mills has got a 1.1 second lead. Amazing stuff. Jack John second, Stephen King third, then John Bailiff, Anderson, Mazurek, and then Ridley and Burns are glued together. Look at this. We don't go on the nose cam of this Audi. We'll go on the front left just so you can see exactly how close they are together. As we go up into the cutting, you see again how narrow it is here. 17 laps around Bathurst. There should not be pit stops. I think Jack mentioned earlier, though, that due to some way that the setup has been sorted for this session is... Whoa! That's a big moment. The number 20, Kyle Ridley, clips the barrier. Obviously, the car will fix itself eventually. Stick with it, Kyle. He's got the 12 going around the outside of him. That is Joshua Germany. Cuts the nose off Austin Farr. Wow. Very, very close there. Eric Manintveld trying to make his way back through the pack during all of this mayhem as well. Fantastic racing, though, already. And with the damage off, the cars are able to survive big knocks that would otherwise take them out of the race. Stephen Fry's just lost a place. Andy Fox has been off the road further down. Stephen Fry's losing multiple places. What's happened here to the Hyundai? Dan Thornton's just gone off as well. Let's see what happened to Stephen. Oh, he's hit the end of the curb. Oh, he's going to lose it one way, then the other, then the other. Hits the barrier and spins, spins, spins. Manages to recover from it quite quickly. Jan Weisvanger's had another off. Please don't tell me it's down the hill again. It is. Although this is him arriving on the scene with the accident already happening in front of him. That is the second time in as many laps he has ended up in that barrier. It's not a pretty noise, is it? Back near the front. This is John Bailiff. Oh, well, never mind, stuff that. Joshua Germany's going backwards. Joshua Germany's around. He also had Kieran Dempsey going off with him. That's both of the BMWs that weren't inside the lead battle. So this is Kieran Dempsey in the M4 TCR. Very late on the brakes. Whoa, he's had a big old moment. I think Germany had an actual separate incident there. I think he got shoved around. Obviously, rear-wheel drive is the M4 TCR. Bit of a moment in front. And yeah, he got hit over the curb, and then the 69 machine of Austin Farr pushed him far off the road. Dan Blake now off the track at turn 1. He comes back on. There's a pit stop there for 28th placed Donnie Henriksen. But back to the front. Connor Mills' gap has gone way down now. He's not actually running away from Jack Johns for this race lead. Still very lively stuff in the opening couple of laps, isn't it? Over the crest of the hill they go then. Down through McPhillamy Park. Look at how close they get to the walls here. It's amazing watching any sort of racing around there. It's full commitment. A little bit of understeer from Jack's BMW there, you could see. Manages to survive it. I'm keeping my eye on the Dutchman, Eric Manentveld, trying to make his way through the pack as... Whoa, 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 Jeremy Agard, how did you not hit anything, son? Oh, my life. I think he might just hit the barrier there. Either that or the car behind him, David Corpus, just did. But wow, Jeremy Agard, that was a moment of a lifetime. Watch this. Over the crest. Understeer, understeer, understeer. Back. Oh, he hits the end of the curb. Fantastic save. Absolutely fantastic save by Jeremy Agard. We'll have to have a look at it on TV1 camera again, though, because he comes into shot completely sideways. Look at this. Through the corner. There's the end of the curb. Lifts the car off the ground. Whoa. Ride 'em cowboy. Lovely stuff. Here's the Scotsman, Stephen Burns. He wasn't a fan of giving people space in the opening lap by the look of it. He's got Manentveld right behind him, and then just behind him is Austin Farr, another driver that doesn't seem to be too scared of putting his nose down the inside. He's now on the left-hand side of Manentveld. Got more cars off in the background. Mo Taki, he's had a problem. We've got Ika Luka. Kieran Dempsey's off as well. I'll have to come back to that as running wide. There's the Scotsman, Stephen Burns. Now Austin goes to the right, chooses a bit of safety as whoa, Manentveld moves over to the left to try and block off Burns. Burns tries to put his nose back down the inside. It was those two that had big issues in the opening lap. Their teammates are queuing up behind as well now because we've got Jeremy Agard, David Corpus. He's the man in the box seat here to be able to watch all this developing. And no, we're dropping a couple of frames at the minute, so I apologise profusely for that. As wow, late on the brakes is David Corpus. I believe he's got Jeremy Agard now behind him. Nope, that's the left front suspension, Chaz. As now, yeah, there he is. There is Agard. And now Daniel Downing. Actually, no, Agard's around here somewhere. No, that was Downing that we were looking at. Downing, well, down the inside. Fantastic dive there by Daniel Downing. Got all the alliteration going on, but still he hasn't got the place. And now on his left-hand side comes the number 9 of Martin Wallace. He's going to try and go around the outside. This is not going to work, Martin. Not through there. He's got understeer on understeer, although he manages to tuck the car down the inside. Andy Fox is now going to try and chase him through. God, I love TCR racing. Andy tries to sneak the little Veloster up the inside. It's got an oh-so-innocent face, but Andy has to make it a bit more aggressive than that if he wants to make the moves. Boy, oh boy, this is good stuff, isn't it? Back near the top end, Stephen King now under a little bit of pressure from Mats Borg Anderson. He's in the final podium spot and he's trying to defend like a rear tail gunner to his poor teammates just in front. And look at this, a bit of weaving here to try and break the slipstream. Connor Mills weaving, Jack Johns weaving, Stephen King moving out of the way. That's going to give Mats Borg Anderson the outside through the right-hander. It's going to be the inside for the chicane. But then it's going to be the outside for the exit of the chicane. So let's see how this works. Is he going to be later on the brakes, though? Mats does get it done by the look of it. Nice, tidy stuff. Can Stephen get the run on the exit, though? That Elantra looks fantastic in that livery, doesn't it? They've nailed the matte effect as well. They've not gone full matte on it, which ruins it, makes it look like a chalkboard. Taki has just got ahead of Frisch. What happened on the end of that previous lap, though, because Kieran Dempsey, Alejandro Carrera, and Ika Luke all went off. This is Kieran. Over that curb again. He's done it again. Big off for him. And then Mo Taki, I believe, went off at the same corner. So up. The 19 has a moment. That's Marcel Fritsch. And there's a car over to the right there. That's the 55 machine of Alejandro Carrera. I think it must have been before all that. No, it was Ika Luka that went off. So Carrera and Luka both had an incident as well. Oh, contact on the way in. Oh, no. My life. How did they not hit anybody there? They were very lucky that there was that gap in the field, weren't they? Very lucky indeed. Here is your race leader, though. Connor Mills. Doing a fantastic job at the moment. Audi leads BMW, leads Honda, leads Hyundai. So, all four manufacturers taking a spot each inside the top 4 of the race, but all 5 different cars, unfortunately, not all up there. Biggest mover in the field at the moment is actually Jamison Huffman in the 29 machine. Not quite sure what the livery's all about, but you could say Christmas has come early. 12 places gained for Jamison Huffman so far during this race. Andy Fox just behind has gained 4 spots. Other big mover is Mo Taki, actually. He's gained 9 places from where he started. Nobody else has gained more than 5. David Corpus, one of the drivers to have gained 5 spots so far. It's close further down here, though. Sam Van Olster's got Stephen Fry and Dan Blake queuing up behind him. It's a Hyundai sandwich with Audis for bread. And down this part of the circuit is very, very scary. Whoa, nice and close to the Coates higher barrier on the left-hand side there into Forest Elbow. Nearly a bit of a kiss there from Stephen Fry behind him. The purple Elantra now is going to build up a lot of speed. It's a beautiful looking car, very aggressive looking car. And there he goes. He's going to be now on the right-hand side of the car. Dan Blake doesn't look like he can gain too much time here. He's not really in enough of a slipstream. There's the Hyundai just creeping past the number 15 machine. It's great how pristine the cars look, isn't it? Considering. And down the inside, Sam Van Olst, oh, he locks up. He's gone straight on. Stephen Fry is going to be laughing all the way to the bank. Dan Blake gets a freebie out of it as well. Sam Van Olst just overdoing it. Joshua Germany has had his own strife down here at the chicane on this lap as well. Oh, late on the brakes. Oh, into the back of the Hyundai and then gets nailed in the left rear as well. Tries a J-turn. It's more of an R-turn, to be honest. It's not easy to do. Right then, back up the hill we go. Connor Mills, Jack Johns, Mats Anderson now in 3rd position after getting past Stephen King. He's going to be hoping to try and put the fear into the Pulsus guys from Team Fear Factor. I put my money on him at the start. He had the most poles this season but no race wins, and it was almost a similar story in the Chaz Draycott Media European Touring Car Championship where he got a lot of pole positions but no race wins. Towards Skyline they go again. And again, the car just wobbling one way then the other. But Mats is able to just hold it exactly where he needs it, isn't he, down there? Jack was saying before that some of the Civics really do struggle. Oh, that's a big old moment for Stephen Burns. The car is out of shape. And again, how does he make that corner? Unbelievable. He's got Jeremy Agard behind him. His teammate will be thinking, well done, mate. You did what I did, but you actually hit a wall. And now the car has fixed itself. He can continue and push on. Stephen Burns finished 20th in the championship in the RLTC last season. Just 1 point ahead of Mo Taki. Fantastic fight going on here, though. Daniel Downing now moves to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, sorry, of Jeremy Agard. Swiss driver trying to hold on the right-hand side. Daniel's got the slipstream of the cars in front of him, though. And behind, now after gaining 13 places, is Jamison Huffman. He also tries to make that Hyundai go through. He's later on the brakes, nearly into the back of Downing, but that's a fantastic move around the outside of Jeremy Agard. Lovely stuff by Jamison Huffman. Brake discs still glowing very much on the exit. Agard says, not on your life. I want that position back, please and thank you. Great racing, though, so far. Really, really enjoyable stuff. We're not even at the halfway point yet, as there's a battle going on at the front. If you listen, there's an M4 around here somewhere that's getting mugged off, and that is Jack Johns. Mats Borg Anderson moves over to the right to try and scare him. Jack wants to put his nose back down the inside, but Mats Borg Anderson continues this really impressive climb through the field and is now up into 2nd place, about half a second off race leader Connor Mills. Just dropping the odd frame at the moment, everybody. I'm really sorry for it, but trying to just manage it and see what I can do to try and fix things, but it seems like at the minute there's some form of, well, something drawing connection from somewhere. We will work on it and make sure that it continues to improve, as right now Connor Mills starting to break away a slight bit at the front here. from Matt Sanderson. He's got Jack Johnson, Stephen King still putting him under pressure. Whoa, whoa, big moment there. That was a hell of a moment to just focus on Martin Wallace. Touchy, as it says on the back of the car. That was very, well, no touchy. There was no touchy of the wall. Maybe a little bit of a scrape of it, though, as he comes down out of Skyline. Andy Fox in that little Veloster. Looking very, very menacing behind him. It's almost like the car's wearing eyeliner, isn't it, the Veloster? Great looking thing. Whoa! It's got a black eye now, I can tell you that for free. Andy Fox headbutts the barrier as he comes down out of Forest Elbow. Ika Luca has had an issue. Or Lakua, sorry. Not quite sure exactly what happened to him. Let's have a look again. Oh, back end steps out. Oh, back end really steps out. Oh, that's not a soft barrier. That one is. And then carries on like nothing happened. Oh, Jamison Huffman, after this fantastic run through the order, has been off the road. Back on track he comes. Well, he's lost a bunch of places. I know we're flicking through replays like we're going through a photo album right now, but we'll have a look. He's around the outside. Oh, just squeezes the number 9 of Martin Wallace a little bit too much. Oh, it's not the safest of rejoins either, but Jameson continues on. Stephen Fry's off the road with what's left of his Hyundai. He now manages to collect it all back together. Dan Thornton's just been off as well. Flipping heck, nobody wants to stay on the road. These guys do, though, and that is Jack Johns. Stephen King just behind him. His teammate may be looking to make a move. I know the two of them do love racing each other. This is the Elantra, following the M4, following the Civic, following the RS3. Great to see 4 different cars inside the top 4 positions. Halfway around this lap will be the halfway point of the race. So still plenty could change yet. It's one big sprint race, this. And strangely, it did seem like being in Discord was the odd sort of drag on the internet, which is very, very weird. Not quite sure what could be causing that. But Mo Taki here in 14th place. Well, we look forward, but really we should look back because Andy Fox is right there. Then it's Jamison Huffman, then Jeremy Agard. But Mo Taki has passed both of these guys. For this position as Andy kisses the inside curb. Well, then again, kisses it, scrapes along it. Show you just about where everybody is on the road at the moment. All of them at one side of the circuit. Connor Mills leading the way. It's like a big anthill, isn't it? Very, very big anthill. But Connor doing everything he needs to at the moment in that Pulsus eSports Audi RS3. But the gap back to Mats Borg Anderson is only 0.4 of a second. It's not a big gap by any stretch of the imagination. Civic making a racket as it does. Initially, though, as you see there, Jack Johns, his car just does a little bit more punch out of the corners with it being rear-wheel drive. But then other times it's just not quite as pokey, especially top end. Let's go on board with the BMW. You'll see, especially in the slipstream of the car in front, the Civic will start to just move away gradually. Behind the Audi. Seems nice and smooth though on board the BMW, doesn't it? It doesn't seem to dance around as much as the other cars. It really shows you the difference between GT4 cars and TCR. Obviously the rear wheels doing a lot of the driving here, with front wheels just telling them where to go. Whereas in the TCR cars, it's quite the opposite, isn't it? Front wheels doing all of the work there. Very, very hard to keep a track of. It's just how those wheels are behaving. Down the hill once more then. Through Skyline we go. There's a kiss of the wall there by Jack, and a kiss of the wall by Stephen as well. Both of them getting incredibly close to the barrier. Getting very, very friendly with it. Looked like a bit of a lock-up there potentially by Connor Mills. We go back further down the order as well. Andy Fox hits one curb, hits the other. Is he going to hit the wall? Yes, he is. It's a massive hit for the Veloster, and he's around and around and around. Oh, he's clipped the Civic as well. Marcel Fritsch is going to go through. That was Jeremy Agard that he clattered into, and he continues as the car fixes itself. Very entertaining, but... Whoa! Oh my goodness me, Dan Blake with a massive hit into the barrier. He is again very lucky that the car's going to fix itself. Oh my, oh well. Okay. That was the number 12, Joshua Germany. Dan Blake jumps to the pits after all of that. That was a massive, massive accident. This is the race lead battle. Connor Mills with Mats Borg Andersen. We'll quickly look back at what happened to Foxy. So he's hit the wall there. That might have broken something on the car. Hits that curb, hits the inside wall, then hits the other curb, hits that wall. Then it goes around. Then he clips the Civic of Agard. And then Dan Blake, well, he's just coming over the hill, unsuspecting. Oh, he's already lost it a little bit. Comes down the hill. Then has to avoid somebody. Whoa, flicks it left. Bang! Into the wall. That is a colossal impact. And that has, well, by the look of it, put Dan out of the race. I'm not sure that anybody told him damage was off. But still, the race goes on. Still, Pulsus eSports have 4 cars inside the top 5. One of them, very importantly, leading the race. But the other non-Pulsus car is Mats Borg Andersen, Team Fear Factor, trying to put the fear into Connor Mills, as previously stated. Great watching TCR cars around here because they have to be so confident in what the car can do. Quite interestingly, our 2 BMWs are next to each other on track further down. Kieran Dempsey running in 22nd place right now behind the headlight flashing Sam van Olst. He's just got Iker Lukia ahead of him. And then Joshua Germany not too far behind. He obviously had a bit of damage from the contact with Dan Blake that then fixed itself. This is a battle inside the top 10. Andre Mazurek, Eric Maninveld and Austin Farr all scrapping together. Civic, Elantra, Civic. And now this is going to get very lively as they come out of Forest Elbow. All of the steering lock put in. Up the gears goes the Civic then. Flappy paddles in TCR cars, not the usual and more conventional big sequential stick shifter that you get in the middle, which is a bit of a shame, I think. It'd be great to see big sequential sticks on TCR cars, but flappy paddles a little bit easier for the drivers to use. Hands on the wheel at all times. Wow, Austin very close to the back of Mazurek there. It was a lovely move by Maninveld, nice and tidy, gets in front. Austin Farr won't want to let him get away though. He'll be keeping his eye on that to try and follow him through there. But the race lead battle is still very, very close. 0.28 of a second between those guys. As we go back up the hill, it looks like Mills is now starting to feel the pressure slightly. As Mats Borg Andersen tries to get the car down the inside wherever he can, or tries to go around the outside and then cut back to the inside. Up the hill we go. And look, suddenly Jack Johns has come back into this. We've got more battles going on here. Taki drives into the back of Martin Wallace. There's no other words for it. Jameson Huffman tries to go through on the Malaysian driver in the Elantra. Side by side as they go into the cutting. Huffman very confident to try and chop the nose off Taki's car. And Taki loses out. Top 3 right together though. Audi, Honda, BMW. Not something you'd expect to hear in TCR, but still. I think it's safe to say that the M4 has actually been very well balanced by these guys. They've put quite a bit of work into making sure that it wasn't OP in any way and that it wasn't too weak. You know, there's a lot of work goes into balancing that. You can see down here it's struggling a little bit. I mean, Jack John's getting up to 230 Ks now. Mats Borg Andersen is doing nearly 240, although it's gone black, so I can't read it. In the slipstream, though, Jack John's now doing nearly 250 Ks, so maybe the complaints about the top speed of the BMW earlier were not justified as oh, onto the grass. That's where it gets a bit scarier, though, when you're in the BMW. Because it's rear-wheel drive, You can just get too eager on the throttle, spin up those rears, the car will go around on you, unlike in a TCR car where you can just light up the fronts and save it. Here's a very, very feisty battle, though, between these three once again as they come into the chicane. Motaki again turning in on drivers. It's the second time in a lap that we've seen him just turn in and make contact with the car on his inside, but ahead of them, Jameson Huffman going well. He's gained 14 spots. Motaki actually has gained 12 spots as well, so both of them having a good time out here this evening at Bathurst. Mazurek is all over the back of Austin Farr in the 69 car. Civic on Civic, VTEC Yo and all that. And round the outside with a fantastic run goes Mazurek, tries to carry the speed around Quarry, but the car just understeers wide. Now Connor Mills will be almost relieved that Jack Johns has caught up with these pair right now, because that means that there's some form of pressure going on behind Mats Borg Anderson. Down the hill again. Very, very tight and twisty there. Stephen King hasn't been able to stay with these boys as much as he would have liked, I'm sure, which is a bit of a shame. Kyle Ridley and Maninveld are also having a good fight. The pops and crackles from that Hyundai are fantastic. Absolutely love it. As whoa, into the wall goes Maninveld. Stephen Silver asking in the chat about lap times in the Audi GTO. Not a clue, mate, I'm afraid. Not a clue. It's not really the place for that, I don't think. As Weiswanger has had another issue on this previous lap. He's hit the curb on the way into Skyline. Down the hill. And again, the back end of that Audi breaking away. And I think that is one time too many for Jan. He then came into the pits after that. Mats Borg Anderson has taken the race lead, typically, when I look away. But Connor Mills has lost the race lead. He's just going to have done it in the slipstream. Very, very close to him as they make their way down the hill. And into the chase. He's just on the inside and gets it done. Fantastic rise through the order here by Mats Anderson. But now, Jack Johns is suddenly in the slipstream with his teammate Connor Mills, and I think they're going to try and work together here to maybe unsettle the race leader somewhat for Team Fear Factor. Connor just about off the back of him, and Jack Johns just about off the back of Connor. Very close racing. Connor puts his nose down the inside on the way up to the cutting. Mats Borg Anderson knows it's a fake threat, still cuts across, takes the racing line down the inside. We've only got a couple of laps to go after this. Let's remember, this is Bathurst. A couple of laps, could be half an hour. Jack Johns now diving around all over the back of the Audi, trying to find a way through, using that punch out of the corner to get alongside as they go through McPhillamy Park. This is not the place to do it, Jack. This is not teamwork. This is not kosher. The more they fight, the more Mats Borg Anderson can break away and have an easier time of it. Jack will be screaming at Connor saying, let me go. I want to have a go at him. I want to win this race. I want to prove Chaz wrong. The driver that he put his money on cannot win this race. I mean, I'm happy. Mats Borg Anderson doing a fantastic job. Not that I'd be unhappy if any of these boys did a good job, because it's been a great race to watch. A little bit further back, Maninveld still chasing down Ridley. Tell you what, actually, we should go back to this with Jack Johns, although he's not in any sort of striking distance to Stephen King right now, is he? It's very spread out. That is not the entire top five, though. That's Dan Blake in there with them. This is the battle for 6th position. Maninveld just moving up a little bit. John Bailiff is 5th at the moment, having a bit of a lonely race. He's got 5 seconds to these guys and then 4 seconds to the car, or the cars, ahead of that. Thank you very much, Stephen. Much appreciated. It's a one-off for me here on this channel tonight. I'm not the usual commentator here at the Racing Line. Mr. Jack Johns, currently 3rd in the race, is the boss man and broadcaster and commentator. I'm a good friend of his, Chaz Draycott. And if you delve into random European motorsport around the world, you might hear me on Clio Cup Europe or the FIA European Truck Racing Championship this year. Series that I did as a commentator in last year as well, in 2021. Mats Borg Andersen just went very wide through Quarry, and Connor Mills gets a fantastic run on him, looks round the outside, just can't quite get the car pinched in. He doesn't want to come across the nose of Mats Borg Andersen that quickly, but look at that cutback. Around the outside again. It's not often you see a car go from the outside of one corner to the outside of the next, although he's run wide up the hill. Jack Johns is going to try and benefit from this now. He looks for a cutback, but instead he finds the back end of the Audi. Connor Mills slamming the door in his face. Stephen King is still watching this all develop in front of him with a front row seat. As again, they kiss the wall. They're running very tiny margins here, but the thing is, with damage turned off in this race, they can do that. You know, you can get away with the odd scrape and the odd tap here and there because it won't knock the tracking out of the car for more than maybe 2-3 seconds. You could argue that that's massively important when you're going down a section like that, but sometimes you might not need to worry about it if you're already carrying the momentum. Someone carrying momentum at the moment is Sam Van Olst. He's gained 5 places from where he started. Backwards momentum is more of Kieran Dempsey's taste in this race. He's lost 9 places from where he started in the BASF BMW in that legendary throwback scheme as Connor Mills goes back to the front on Mats Borg Andersen. He's got the move done in the final chicane. And now Mats is having to defend from Jack Johns. This is perfect scenario for Connor Mills. He's in front while his main rival in the race at the moment has to battle with his teammate. Flashing of the lights as Stephen King says, after me, or, well, after you. Headlights ablaze now. All of them come on at once. It's like iRacing does it for you. Stephen King glued to the back of Jack Johns now. The two of them really close together. There is the Elantra pushing, goes up the hill. Well, he's saying he was going to get mugged. You can hear the Elantra buzzing away like a big angry Korean wasp. Love the effect on the metallics on this car as well. Lovely sheen up the side of it. Certainly does look good. And then you can see the S in the Pulsus logo. There's a lot more chrome than the rest of it. Great battle from these top guys though, and the thing is they've all kept it really clean as well. I mean, touch wood, up to now there's not been a major incident or anybody lose out massively. They've all been door to door for pretty much all of the race. As Mo Taki has gone off the road, and Jameson Huffman involved in that as well. I think maybe the two of them both having a problem. Let's have a look. Side by side they were up into the cutting. Oh, Mode loses the back end of the car and puts them both in the fence. Jameson Huffman, though, carried the momentum actually, managed to get away with it. Lost just 2 places there. That could have been much worse. They could have ended up parked against the barrier with nowhere to go. Bright headlights ablaze again on the Civic of Mats Borg Andersen. Only 2 more laps to go after this one. This is lap 15 out of 17 here. In this fantastic RLTC celebration round powered by GT Omega. You can see the BMW just lurking there of Jack Johns. He's waiting for his chance. It's just that chance doesn't really often come around Bathurst, especially in a straight line. As there's cars off in the background, Stephen Burns, Martin Wallace, oh, Jameson Huffman as well. A bunch of them off the road. They need to be careful with the rejoins to get back on safely. Oh, now they're all spread out. Oh, Stephen making a bit of a hash of it, coming back on. Jameson Huffman's still not back on the road yet. What has happened here, boys? So Stephen Burns with Huffman right behind. Oh, Huffman gives him a tap, goes one way, then the other. They both come across, and they're going to go ploughing into the number 9. Oh, man. Well, I'm sure Jack won't mind me with a bit of self-promotion here, but Tahero in the chat, Mr. J. Tahero, there is a GT4 championship that I run at the moment. A Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge. It's a fantastic, fantastic discipline, is GT4 racing. It's hilarious fun. Unfortunately, we're not taking any more drivers on at the moment because we're in the second half of the season, but I'm pretty sure there will be a second championship of it. Everybody is loving it. But, of course, I have all faith in Jack putting another wonderful series on. He's always good at organising these. He makes them very good fun. All the drivers love it. They always keep coming back. And as a series organiser, you could not ask for more. What Connor Mills could ask for right now is for that Civic to, well, for lack of a better phrase, go away. But that's exactly the opposite to what Mats Borg Anderson's going to do. He moves that far over to the left, though, that he ends up on the grass. Kills a little bit of the momentum that he's gained from the slipstream there. Down the hill we go once more. Very, very close. This is the penultimate lap through the chase. Into the chicane once more. Look at the speed that Connor Mills carries through there. He's very confident in the car. Tucks it in. Stephen King now gets to watch as Jack Johns climbs around all over the back of the Civic. You could probably fit the BMW in the exhaust of that Civic. It's a big old piece of tubing. M4 tries to go around the outside. Big, big mount up the curb there for Mats Borg Anderson. We're on to the final lap here at Bathurst in the RLTC, powered by GT Omega celebration round. Celebrating everything that has been fantastic about this championship by throwing a BMW into the mix and seeing how awful Jack can make it. But you know what? Credit to him. He's done a great job so far. The other two BMWs in the field, Kieran Dempsey and Joshua Germany, down in 20th and 23rd places respectfully. I mean, the BMW's been pushed along at the moment by Hyundai. It's not often you see that. It's usually the BMW in the fast lane of the M6 that's glued to your rear end, Bluetooth headset in hand, well, or in your ear. But Connor Mills, he has commanded this race for most of it. He lost the lead for just a couple of laps to Mats Borg Anderson, and right now he looks very comfortable in this stage of the race. We've got this battle going on here. It's just clouded at the moment by these cars in front, but look, we've got Martin Wallace, Stephen Burns, Andy Fox, Stephen Fry, 2 by 2 as they go up the hill. It's not the best view in the world, but as they go into quarry, we'll be able to figure out how this sorts itself out more. Stephen Burns, obviously, getting a few knocks and bangs here and there it is. That was inevitable, I have to say it. No offence to Stephen, but the amount of times we've seen him go into corners and just imagine that the other car is just going to disappear. The master of traction becomes the master of going backwards. But he recovers very, very quickly indeed. Stephen Burns, unfortunately, well, we'll have to move it on a little bit, but you can see here the room was just not there down the inside. He turned to the apex. The Civic was there. Not really much that the number 9 of Martin Wallace could do. Connor Mills, though, well, he is only a fifth of a lap away from taking the win here at Mount Panorama. And it's not for lack of trying from the other guys either. It's not been a simple race by any stretch of the imagination, but Connor, who finished runner-up in the championship by just 2 points after scoring 1,204 over the season, is going to add another win to his tally in this discipline. Hands together, everybody, for Connor Mills, who takes the checkered flag at Bathurst. Mats Borg Anderson second and Jack Johns third. Stephen King makes it all 4 manufacturers in the top 4. 5th place by John Bailiff. That's a great result, to be fair. Really, really tidy run from him. And Kyle Ridley has got past Maninveld on the final lap to take 6th position. Austin Farr crosses the line 8th. Then it's Andre Mazurek, and Daniel Downing is going to round out your top 10. Well, what fantastic entertainment that proved to be. Really, really good fun all the way through. The rest of the field continue to cross the line. Stephen Fry and Andy Fox side by side with one another. Stephen flings the Elantra around the outside, and Andy just drops down to 17th place at the line. Stephen Burns recovers to 18th. Jameson Huffman just ahead of Kieran Dempsey in one of the other GT4 BMWs. Manages to just about survive that one. But you've got to say that was down to just the damage not being on. But there is your race winner, everybody. Connor Mills with a fantastic, fantastic run to the end. He'll be absolutely overjoyed with that one. Great battle as well all the way through, it has to be said, by Mats Borg Andersen. He started 5th on the grid, 6th on the grid, I should say, and comes through to take a very well-earned and hard-fought 2nd position. 3rd place goes the way of Jack Johns, the man himself behind the racing line. He basically is the racing line, of course, hand in hand with his fantastic, great supporter as well, it must be said, Stephen King. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, everybody. I'm sweating buckets here in the virtual commentary box here in my office. Absolutely roasting, but Connor Mills, an absolute star of that one. And a real treat all the way through. Let's get you some race results then, and we'll look through how that all shaped out at the end. Connor Mills takes the race win for Pulsus eSports. Team Fear Factor's Mats Borg Andersen, though, only 0.4 of a second back. Top 3 separated by less than a second at the line, with Jack Johns in 3rd. Stephen King finishes in 4th place for Pulsus eSports ahead of John Bailiff in 5th. Then we have Kyle Ridley, the Australian, finishing on home turf in 6th place ahead of the Dutchman Erik Manenveld. Austin Farr, well, he wasn't far behind, was he? 14.7 seconds off the lead, with Andre Majerek in 9th. Daniel Downing rounds out the top 10. A good result there for Goldwing Motorsport. Mo Taki, after a very lively race, manages to just miss out on a top 10 spot, but still, I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with 11th, just ahead of David Corpus. Marcel Fritsch finishes in 13th position. And then we have Alejandro Carrida and Martin Wallace 14th and 15th. Next up was Stephen Fry, just ahead of Andy Fox, as we saw, with Stephen Burns in 18th. Then it's Sam Van Olst. And next up was Jameson Hoffman. Kieran Dempsey and Ika Luca were the next cars up. And I think it's just about time that we have a quick look at something here, everybody, because the guys are going to put on a bit of a demonstration for us as they make their way down the hill. Look at it. Look at this. Tell you what. There you go. Nobody hitting the wall there, luckily. Look at that. Is that not the best thing you've ever seen? Who says sim racing has to be serious all the time? Oh, good lord. Well, it's all in good fun, isn't it? It is all in good fun. It's like Robot Wars out there at the moment, everybody. Obviously, we won't go through the complete run-through of the result at the end, but let's have another look at it from where Connor Mills started out. That is, yeah, apologies if you've got epilepsy. Connor Mills clouting into the barrier, and then everybody else, well, we'll leave it to run. Now watch this Honda. Heads. Fantastic. That was the number 18 car flying through the sky there of Jeremy Agard. I wonder if we can go on board with Jeremy, actually. And yeah, I'm going to do it. We'll see if we can go on board. Where is Jeremy then when he went down the order? There he is. This is how it looks from driver's eye view. Flashing the lights all the way down. Not a hint of a lift. Good lord. Good lord. What a mess. But what a fantastic amount of fun. And it's been a wonderful evening for it here in the Racing Line Touring Car Championship, powered by GT Omega. And what we'll do in just a moment is we'll have a word with some drivers, hopefully, when they pop up for an interview. We see here the slow-mo shots as the grid got away. Fantastic looking field, isn't it? And can you believe that it was that much lighter earlier on? I'm pretty sure that it's going to change any second and suddenly go darker again, but it certainly didn't look that light when we actually started. And I'm very happy to say that the first man we have in to have a chat with us is Connor Mills. Connor, that was a hell of a race, mate. You must have really enjoyed yourself there. I mean, I was just saying that you had to work for that, though, didn't you? You didn't run away with it.
Yeah, the toe was just massive, so I think it was pretty impossible to pull away no matter how fast you were. There was a couple of times where I thought I'd broken it, but one tiny little 2-3 tenth mistake up the mountain, and that was it. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
back on me.
Well, that's it. It can be as simple as that sometimes, can't it? I mean, you can have as clean a race as you want, and then all of a sudden, just one moment can just ruin the whole run that you've had and the whole sort of race. It's such a fickle place at Bathurst.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know if you caught it on the stream, but I think it was like lap 15 or something. I had a wobble on the grass where I got one of the corners wrong. Like, my fronts were just gone by like lap 12, 13. And I had a massive moment, went on the grass, had to get on the brakes, and it just made life a lot harder than it needed to be because I had the gap then as well. So, yeah, good race though. Good, clean, and good to have a laugh with everyone.
Well, yeah, that was it. I mean, I've seen that all of you pretty much are down there in Discord having a chat together, and it makes it even more fun when you're all together and able to communicate, doesn't it? Because you know what each other is thinking, and I mean, if there is anything going wrong, if someone's running wide or something, drivers often have the etiquette to shout that out, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. It keeps it. It's a bit better than just jumping in a random online race, right?
Oh God, yeah.
And
always.
where you all know each other, you kind of learn about each other as well, and you learn who will give you the room, who won't, who will brake late, who tends to save it for the next corner, and it just makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does, mate. And once again, obviously, congratulations from me. I'm sure Jack will congratulate you as well himself. Everybody else will. It's been a fantastic night for you. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just my girlfriend Karis for putting up with me every Monday doing this.
Well, fair play to her.
And Jack for putting it on as well.
Lovely stuff. Well, great to speak to you again, Connor. It's certainly been a while, mate, but hope everything continues to go well, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, perfect. Same. Cheers, bud.
Cheers. Great stuff. Race winner there, Connor Mills, jumping in for a quick chat after an amazing fight with this man, the Civic driver for Team Fear Factor, Mats Borg Anderson. Mats, you really had to work hard there, mate. It didn't quite come off in the end, but what a great race you had with those Pulses boys.
Yeah, story of the season, really. No wins, some podiums, and it was really great. Connor was fair there, and everyone from Pulses was actually really fair.
Does that make a change to the rest of the season? I haven't watched all of it.
No.
Fair play. Well, that's very modest.
I'm just kidding. That's been a great season with everyone, so yeah.
And that's the thing, the reason that we were here tonight was to celebrate the championship, and it certainly worked out that way because everybody seems to have had fun. There was obviously the mass accident at the end, which was hilarious to watch from where I was. I hope you go back and watch it because the camera angle was beautiful. But it's all about just enjoying yourselves, and while the racing can be serious, I was saying there that, there are moments in sim racing where it doesn't have to be serious all the time, and that just proved it, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, the end there proved it, but I think there was quite a lot of radio silence too. Especially. So we really tried hard to win this race, but the Honda is too slow up the mountain and really quick down. But I made some mistakes there on second to last lap, so I couldn't get corner. So
right,
good,
I see.
Good.
Well, like Connor was saying, one little mistake can just change the whole race, really. But it comes down to that, especially at Bathurst as well. But as long as you've enjoyed yourself, that's the main thing, eh?
Yeah, it was mega fun. So let's do it again sometime.
Well, I would definitely be up for commentating on it again because it was a phenomenal race all the way through. Is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to, though, Mats? Because we need to wrap it up, I believe.
Yeah, my beautiful fiance, as normal, my mother watching, my father watching, Jack and everyone else who raced and put this on. So VCO, GT Omega, and you, of course, for commentating this celebration round.
Well, thank you very much, Mats. It's been an absolute pleasure once again. Good to see you, buddy, and good to see you going well. I look forward to the next time round that I can commentate on you.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. And to be fair, we don't actually need to do a fourth interview because the man that we can drag in for the third interview of the night ended up on the podium. Well, I put my money on Mats Borg Anderson. He got close enough, didn't he, Jack?
He did. He did bloody well. I thought once he got into the lead, I literally I shook my head and I was like, Chaz was right. He's bloody going to do this on the celebration round that's not worth any points. But no, it was close. It was tough work, It was quite hot. I think Matt said about it being pretty quiet. It was pretty sweaty. There was a few giggles up and down the field. I have no idea. Normally quite aware of what's going on throughout the race, but genuinely, other than Stevie behind me and those two in front, I've no idea what happened behind. I was just so focused trying to catch him up, but couldn't do it in the end. But I'll take P3. I think realistically, Stephen was kind to me by pushing me along the straight because he probably could have nabbed that podium. But
I was going to say, I thought he was going to try and grab it at the end off you when you went down the Conrod.
Yeah, well, I think he went to have a look, and then I'd made such a mess of turn 1, and I thought I could still get Matt's. So I was like, push me! And then he did. But yeah, he didn't have to. He's got a couple of wins and podiums throughout the season, so it was nice to have him pushing me and not killing me for a change. That was good fun.
Well, it can make all the difference, mate, and it was a hell of a race behind you, I can tell. Just as all the action that you guys had at the front, just duplicate that all the way back through the pack. There was so many great racing. Look at my English. So much great racing, so many great battles, but also, cars surviving big accidents as well and carrying on because of the damage being off. It actually made a really positive difference. People weren't taking liberties with it, I don't think.
Yeah, it was a tricky decision, to be honest. Obviously, damage was on throughout the season, and it has to be, I think, when there's points on offer. But
yeah,
with the way that this track is, with the way that they're even with people driving within their limits, there's been accidents, there's been crashes, and someone always falls foul of that, and it's not normally the person that's caused the incident. So I think it was more in my head. I wanted that to be for the survival of innocent victims, and without other people sort of taking the mick with it. And to be fair, like, I didn't see. Again, maybe further back, there were. I heard some commotion, I think, early on. So some people probably did, but I didn't want people having to pit stop because they'll be out of the race, and a safety car would take 10 minutes or so to bring everyone back up. So yeah, it worked quite well. I think Matt's scraped the wall a few times at the top of the mountain, which maybe would have been worse if damage was on, but he didn't hit it hard enough to write his car off anyway. So it still would have been close.
And how was the M4 in comparison? Because it didn't look too bad for most of the race compared to the TCR cars.
It was. I want to say we nailed it, but at the same time, I'm frustrated. Like, if I'd won, people would have said it was the M4. So I'm kind of happy that Connor and Mats has done it. That's an Audi and a Honda that's finished in front. Like I said at the start, it was the straight line. As an initial just straight line advantage for everyone else with the weight that I've got on board. Just couldn't get the exits out of the key corners to get the passes done.
Yeah.
I think there was one time I got pretty close on the Conrod straight. I think I had to be within 4 attempts as I exited to the top of the mountain. But I would have had to send it on the brakes. And I think early on I was pretty scared because I went off, and that's when Connor passed me initially.
We're literally watching that right now on the slow-mo as well.
Yeah, so that was when I first broke myself, and then since then I think I brought my braking zone back a little bit. I just couldn't push. I was still catching. The beam was good round there. That's where I would close the others. But yeah, straights, which is where I needed it, it just wasn't there. And on the plus side, I think for me and my own ego, I think Kieran and Josh were in the Beamer as well, and they're down in 21st and 23rd. So I don't know what happened to them, but it was pretty even. The lap times were even. I don't know if it would work on other circuits, but it was nice to have a 5th car out there, and I like the Beamer and British touring cars, so hopefully it looks like that.
Well, it was certainly good to watch it. Excuse me a second.
Oh, bless you.
They didn't hear that on stream, so it's all right. But yeah, it was good to see another car out there, actually. It was quite interesting to see a GT4 car mix it with TCRs. Obviously, in endurance championships, you see TCRs amongst other GTs. But yeah, it was still good fun to watch either way, and it's been a pleasure to commentate on it, Jack. We do have to, of course, wrap things up, though, at some point. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to? You're on this side of the fence now.
I know, yeah. Well, I think I did a rough goodbye last time at Phillip Island, but thank you, first of all, for stepping in for this final round. Cause
My pleasure.
I don't normally get to race these guys, so it was nice to be on track with them. And yeah, final race, I guess. Celebration champion was announced. Morgan Burkhardt, he couldn't be here today, unfortunately, but Connor showed why he was a strong runner-up with 2 points difference. So well, thank everyone that entered, really. 32 drivers in the end with the 2 reserve swaps. It does mean a lot to us. I mean, there's banter all around, but the feedback's been great. We want to continue running different leagues. I think I shouted it out last time. If anyone's interested in running a mini Pro 2 Lite road series, I think we're We're planning on starting that in 2 weeks' time, but we need more numbers for it to go ahead, I think. But yeah, thank you to all the drivers that entered. Thank you for you commentating. GT Omega, don't forget to use your TRL code for 5% off. Wink, wink. And VCO as well. They provided not only more exposure, but great photography along the way as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cracking stuff. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, Jack. Good to speak to you, buddy, and thank you for joining me in the box. I'm sure we'll have a debrief afterwards in just a minute anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go and see what everyone thought. I can't wait to watch the replay of the jump, to be honest.
Oh, it's hilarious. I watched it back good 2 or 3 times as well, so you'll enjoy that. I loved it. But
Okay.
thank you very much, mate, and we'll see you again soon.
No worries. Peace.
Cheers. Cracking stuff there. The boss man, Jack Johns, after what has been a very, very, very entertaining race. Connor Mills takes the win then at Bathurst in what was a fantastic celebration of the RLTC. It's been an absolute joy to bring this broadcast for you tonight. My name is Chaz Draycott. This has been The Racing Line, and we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Have a good night, everybody.